Welcome to the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast, a racing show for the fans by a fan. Welcome into the Caution Flag Contemplations. I'm your host, Casper. What's up, Big JP?
Oh, nothing. You know.
We making it here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. I've noticed on our little screen, which nobody's going to see, but you're actually Casper and I'm JP today. But that's okay. I can fix that whenever we edit it. So, anyways, welcome in. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's the day of the recording. Did y'all eat some green donuts down there at the
We did. We got some
dealership?
yesterday. Oh,
At the house or at
yeah,
work?
sister brought them to us yesterday.
Yeah. Work didn't celebrate St. Patrick's Day today, though? No.
No.
You
That's
know,
too expensive.
Shit. Let me tell you. So actually, my work usually does. Like in the past, they've done the St. Patrick's Day like corned beef and cabbage. I don't really know. I've never ate it. Because usually they usually feed people at like 11, and I usually get back around 2. So like I don't like to eat that food necessarily. It's been sitting out all day, but. I don't think they did today. Nobody said anything if they did. I didn't have any donuts. The wife said she was going to buy me some donuts and didn't, and I guess it made me sad. I don't know. I was all right without it. So, we'll survive. Well, how's your weekend? Pretty good?
It was good until it wasn't.
Yeah.
Friday was a bit of a day there. Started off good, breaking the snap-on cordless ratchet at work.
Yeah, I was curious. I was actually telling somebody about that. Is that warranted?
No,
do those come with a warranty at all?
They do, but you got to pay to get it rebuilt. I got it shipped off today, and then Friday night driving to dinner, driving by the golf course.
Oh yeah.
Golf ball out of nowhere come and shattered the windshield and made it even better day. So
that was only what 425, 450,
something like that.
Yeah. Well, so you kind of ruined it.
A little bit.
The honorary golf club of the week.
Oh, gosh.
I had some golf balls, but I couldn't find them. But I got you a golf club. It's a kid size. If you'd like to try golf, I know I've heard that you really like golf. So
yeah, for sure.
This is Caution Flag Contemplations Golf, where we buy golf. Mike's Golf Clubs, we buy golf. Listen, if you happen to be listening to this and you have not ever seen that video for Mike's Golf, we buy golf clubs, you need to look it up immediately. Oh, yeah. It's based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, which Theo Vaughn apparently thinks is an amazing town. I don't know if I sent you that video this week. I'll have to see if I can find that and resend it. But yeah, it was on, dude. He was on what, like not Jerry Springer. Letterman, I think, with that commercial or something. You know, he made the night show rounds. But it's a good one. Y'all look that up. And JP's going to be picking up golf next week because he's just so excited. Yeah. So, like, I'm assuming this was we're going to go ahead and call him out. This is, what's it called? I don't know why I can't think. Valleybrook Golf Course in Hickson, Tennessee. So, if the idiot that happened to hit the golf ball is listening, you know, you owe this man a windshield. It was a red Ford. So
yeah.
I was talking to El Beckray about that earlier today, and I was like, I swear to God, they don't even hit the ball towards the road up there.
I think
was it like right before when you were almost past?
It was just past the stoplight when you start turning. But so I was looking at it today when I drove by it because I wanted to look at the course. So like right there in that curve is where the hole is. Yeah. So you would think they wouldn't be hitting it that hard. There are trees, but I guess somebody knocked one way over.
And it's springtime, so maybe it made it through. Okay. Because I was like, that's actually something. So those of you who don't know, they're going to lay this out just a little bit. So you drive down this 5-lane road, a.k.a. Hickson Pike, for those of you who know Chattanooga at all. And it's like 45 miles an hour. Everybody does 70. And, like, everybody drives past this golf course. If you live in Saudi or Hickson, you drive this way all the time, right? And I've wondered the entire time I lived there, I was like, how do they not hit more daggum golf balls, like, in the road? Because you drive literally in the middle of the golf course. Never really had a problem that I've known of until this weekend. But yeah, so I guess maybe that's what I was trying to figure that out, but I guess that makes sense. I know the corner you're talking about. You're talking behind like little shed sales place. Yeah. That's right. That's like the first hole goes that way, I guess.
Yeah.
So interesting. Well, I hate that for you.
That happens.
Maybe Joe Biden will pay for you to get it replaced.
Yeah, right.
He'd probably pardon the golfer.
Probably.
Although I heard they're signing those with auto pin effective today, so apparently half those pardons are no longer. I don't really know. I'm just repeating literally what I saw on the internet. So nobody judge. I have no idea. I'm not making any claims. Apparently, I need to be careful about the claims I make on the internet these days. So, but anyways, that's a whole other story. I'm wearing a Josh Berry hat. I don't wear a backwards hat. I turn it on because I just want everybody to see it's 21. This is not really a Josh Berry hat. It's a Wood Brothers hat. I did go there once. Me and D-Watt went up there on the way to Martinsville first time we went. And I was like, well, I guess I'm going to buy a hat because I'm here. So I bought a hat just like a team hat. So I'm going to turn it back around now. But that's what this hat is for those of you who can't read. I don't like having a backwards hat. Oh, yeah. Now it's better. Josh Berry got the win. Tennessee boy.
Oh, yeah.
How about that? Hey, this is random. I was talking to a buddy about this today. So Trevor Bayne. Was that the last Tennessee hometown driver to win?
Probably, yeah.
And then before that, Sterling Marlin, maybe?
That or Waltrip
So,
on the Waltrips.
And it's interesting because they're all from Middle Tennessee, actually. Yeah. I think even Darrell Waltrip, I know that, he's got a lot of ties in Bristol now, but I think he's from Hendersonville or something. No, not
like
Hendersonville,
that.
Murfreesboro, Nashville area. So, awesome to see Josh get a win. I don't know how you could not like that win. As soon as the race was over, I was like, it's a pretty good race. Josh Berry won. Everybody wanted to see that. The guy that really fought from the bottom to the top. And not a lot of time, dude. Not a lot of time at all.
Not at all.
You think back to Dale Jr. going out on a limb and really just saying, hey, we don't have a sponsor. We don't care. And you don't see that a lot. And obviously Junior Motorsports has the money to do it. And it was really cool, in my opinion, to watch that and see that he's made it. And I'm sure that Dale was over the moon yesterday, even though he wanted a Ford. I can't believe Chevy let him go. Personally, listen, who cares? I wanted him in the 48 car because Alex Bowman sucks. So that's what I said the whole time. I'll just go ahead and say it. Sorry to you 5 Bowman fans in the country. Ally probably was not going to go for Josh Berry. Ally really needs a soft type like Alex Bowman. But, wow. I'm really on it on Bowman tonight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I don't know. But glad to see him get the win. Other than that, I guess we need to get through here the notes for the weekend before we get this whole podcast get away. Did you see the tow truck at Port Royal?
I saw the clip, yes. That
oh, my gosh. Dude, that was like a 4-door crew cab. Pickup tow truck, like a late 80s
something
Ford.
Like that, yeah.
He rolled that bitch over.
Yeah.
So I wish I was watching the race. I think it was on flow. I was just curious. I wanted to go back today, and I just haven't had time to try to find it. Did they use this tow truck the rest of the night? Did they roll it back over and then go? Because it didn't look like it got damaged. And that thing is solid steel.
Yeah.
They could have fired that baby
solid.
right back up. 100%. So that was awesome. Also, all right, so I got it fired up there on Jeff Gluck's Twitter, apparently on accident.
Oh, yeah.
He was posted from the high limit race, pictures of the stands, and was like, yeah, it's an awesome crowd, and da-da-da-da. And I just replied back, because I just happened to notice there's a lot of NASCAR shirts. And I don't know how many dirt races you have to go to be qualified to, act like you're a dirt racing fan or you have some experience and can speak on it. But, there was a good number of NASCAR shirts. And I basically was just like, well, generally this is not – I said I didn't use punctuation. That's the problem. Okay, I should have done better. Sorry, Mom. But I was like – basically I said, generally I have a rule against that. I have a rule against it for myself, for you if you go with me. For Watkins, we've established this rule, and our general rule is you can wear it up, but you can't wear it down. So you can wear a truck shirt to a
Cup race or Xfinity.
I'm about to say it's backwards. You can wear it up, but you can't wear it down. So you can wear a truck shirt to a cup race. That's no problem. You can wear a dirt shirt to a Cup race. That's no problem. But if you wear a Chase Elliott shirt to 411 Motor Speedway for a weekly race, go buy like a local guy's shirt, man. Like, they need to sell some T-shirts too. And I think that's really more my thing. Now, that being said, NASCAR's having a dirt race. It's the same facility as NASCAR for the weekend. So I expect to see some people that probably don't have dirt T-shirts. Like, you go upstairs in my drawer, I mean, if my wife counted how many dirt shirts I had at $30 a piece, it actually just thinking
quite
about
a few.
I'm starting to sweat thinking about it, to be honest with you. So like I understand that, but so my whole point was like, hey, that's awesome. I'm glad to see this NASCAR dirt merge. Like, I've been to enough dirt races to know there's a little bit of a cutoff. I've always watched both, always been a fan of both, been to both, on a regular basis for the last 15 years, and so, I was excited, and some people were like, oh, my God, you have people standing at the gate not letting them in because they're wearing a Chase Elliott shirt to a dirt track. I was like, dude, nobody at dirt track is telling anybody they can't come in if they have the money. I mean, you can wear whatever you want. You can be topless. I'm pretty sure I've seen naked women walk around, actually, to be honest with you. And so, anyways, just to clarify, you're more than welcome to wear what you want. But as a general rule for myself, I try to wear a dirt racing shirt to a dirt race. I try to wear up, not down. And I guess it's just to, like, be different, I guess. I don't know. Like, if you come to a dirt track wearing a NASCAR shirt, the people that have been to that dirt track for the last 10 years are going to be like, oh, new one. Not saying they're going to be rude, hateful, though. They will answer anything you want to know, but when you walk up to them and you're like, what's a heat race? Like, that, they already know. Okay? Like, that's... it is what it is. But apparently, I really got them fired up there. Apologies to anybody that didn't understand that. Hopefully, some of y'all listen to the show. That'd be fine with me as long as you do. But yeah. Anyways, super cool to see High Limit out there racing with NASCAR. We'll get to them here in a minute. Friday night, I went to World Outlaws, and we're just gonna go straight to that. So, went to Smoky Mountain Speedway for the World Outlaws late models. Weather was great. It was like high of like 77, low overnight. It was supposed to be like, I don't know, 55, something like that. It was the nicest race weather I've been to in a long time. Didn't need the tent for the shade because you needed the sun to stay warm enough. It was a little breezy was the only thing.
Yeah.
But, dude, I mean, jeans, T-shirt, couldn't have been better. Some people wearing shorts. I was wearing jeans. Didn't need a hoodie. Like, it was that kind of perfect weather as far as that went. Great car count. 45 cars showed up. Track was super. Oh, my gosh, it was smooth.
Really?
Like, I don't know if you saw any of the pictures. And it scared me, actually, when I showed up, that it was packed this hard and this smooth. I was like, oh, my God. So I don't know who's doing the track prep over there now. I don't really know who's doing all that. But so I was a little worried. It was a little dry in hot laps, and there was a lady from Wisconsin came up there, and she was like, is this track always like this when it starts? And she's like, I'm from Wisconsin. My son-in-law or somebody's racing. And I was like, it is usually a little dusty. And she's like, well, is it going to race? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's not going to, like, build a foot tall cushion, though. Like, we're not doing that. We don't necessarily do that on this kind of dirt. It doesn't really stack like that usually or whatever. I was like, but it'll probably race okay. It'll be slow. It's not hammered down or nothing. But so anyways, we get through that, and that was pretty funny. She came up and talked to me, and I had my child, my 2.5-year-old, making his first appearance at the dirt track on Friday. Scared me to death. I was like, he's gonna hate it. I'm never gonna be able to go again. He liked it pretty good, but she was like playing with him. She's like, oh, do you like cheese balls? I was like, yeah, he likes cheese balls. Then she was like, I'm from Wisconsin. I was like, where's the spotted cow? But yeah, and she was like, I don't have any here. I'm gonna give you some. I said, okay, well, I appreciate it. But yeah, so overall, it was a great day to be at the racetrack. I was excited. I think everybody there knew, just kind of from talking to the guys. I did tier parking. Obviously went in the pits, like, just because having the kid, I was like, if I have the whole truck bed, that's a lot of room for him to play. Yeah. And worst comes to worst, we'll pull out the Paw Patrol on the tablet, okay? Yeah. Like, I'm not afraid to admit I had it there at the ready. He watched it a little bit during track prep before the race got started. Once the car started, he really didn't at all. So, but, get up there, having a good time, and I walked through the pits up there, and, dude, they had so many T-shirt trailers.
Really?
Oh, my gosh. Like, they had them, you know how they usually put some on, like, the other side of the bathrooms?
Yeah.
They didn't have anything over there. But the other side was packed in. Like, dude, there was only, like, 10 foot. So they had, like, a row, and that middle row was, like, back to back. And then another row and, like, a U right there behind the grandstands, like, turning toward one. It was packed. Great crowd, I thought, for Friday night. Friday nights are hard. I know for a lot of people to get off work and get there. But other than that, the facilities were great. Everything was up to par. It was going to be a great night. I wish they could have raced Saturday. Friday, I was talking to the guys. Everybody kind of knew we weren't racing Saturday. You know, it's like, well, we're running tonight, and it's going to be a good time. Nobody really cared. We're just like ready to watch the race. So they go out there, start qualifying. I didn't get to watch qualifying. My child decided that he wanted to get out of the truck and go down to, they got the chute on the back stretch by tier parking, and he's like, down, Daddy, down. I said, okay. I was like, well, it's qualifying, so I'm not, whatever we need to do to keep him happy for the next 6 hours approximately. So, which only took 2 hours and 45 minutes. World Outlaws. But so I walk him down there, and we're like standing by the chute. And I really didn't get to watch much qualifying because I was worried about him. But he was just standing by the fence, and he's like, race cars, race cars. And they kept the pit guys would be riding up on pit bikes and then taking off. He'd be like, bike, tractor, tractor, big truck, big truck. So yeah, anyways, he had a good time down there. But so we stayed down there for most qualifying for all three divisions. They only ran two other divisions with. They ran front runners and they ran street stocks. That was it. I think it's great. I think World Outlaws has got their show dialed in, figured out how to do the streaming thing. And honestly, for having a kid there, like, I don't want to be there for 12 hours. Yeah. So I really props them on that. But we're going to talk about that in a minute, though. So Davenport ends up setting fast time. I didn't even realize it. And I'm like, down there wearing the shirt and all this stuff. And I barely realized it. And then I see somebody's like screaming, like, JD from Paul, dude, whatever he ran. I don't know if he ran the top or the bottom because I wasn't watching. But somebody's like, do whatever. I think he ran up in 3 and 4 maybe, but I'm not sure. And so anyways, watch all that, get through qualifying. Heat start, and the track was kind of slicked off a little bit during the heats. There wasn't a lot of passing. It was interesting, though. Did you watch any of this?
No, I was out.
Okay, so I'm giving you the full DL here. So, oddly enough, the outside on all these heat starts took the lead pretty much. Yeah, Marler was fast time in his group, started pole inside, and Owens pulled him. Same thing with Pierce over Davenport in their heat. Moran over, I think it was Seawright. And kind of the whole thing all the way through. Hoffman over McDowell, too. So that was just kind of weird. It did start to widen out a little bit. It's like it quit getting dusty and it started to widen out. And there was a little bit of moisture in the middle. Like there was a brown streak in the middle. Everybody's kind of trying to grab and everything. It kind of reminded me of Boyd's in 3 and 4. I'm sorry, in 1 and 2. 3 and 4 in with no wall. It didn't feel like it, but I really felt like the 1 and 2 in reminded me of that. Because you know how smooth they used that place with the daggum steamroller. Like, that big old flat roller, didn't have a sheep's foot or nothing, just smooth. And so it kind of reminded me of that, but I thought it was racing pretty good. And it got a little racy. They ran the B mains and it really rubbered hard during the B mains. And so they ended up doing a little track work. And, I was like, okay. And they pulled the water truck out. This is the best part of the whole, overall, race night for the 2.5-year-olds. So they bring the water truck out in the Packer trucks. And he's like, no trucks! No trucks! No trucks! Go! It's like, oh, my gosh. I was like, oh, man. He said it, not me, okay? Yeah. But they did a pretty good job. It was nothing like what I dealt with last weekend at the other track that, I like a lot. But it wasn't an hour and a half or anything like that. They just kind of watered it from top to bottom, rolled it in. They had a little, roller thing that they pulled behind an SUV that I've never seen before. And it just looked like it had daggum, tiny-ass spikes on it. And they just put the water on it, ran it in, and I thought it did really good. I thought the track raced really well. So there wasn't a whole lot to talk about because the heat races were kind of trained up, in my opinion, kind of going through there. Hudson did get spun in his heat. I think he was driving the 6th car for Rumley this weekend. The other kind of odd cars was Shepard was driving the B5, family car instead of driving the Rocket 1 since it's not a Lucas night. And O'Neill, I think he spun off Alberson, I think is who it was. But that was just kind of from looking at tire marks. I didn't exactly really see what happened because it was in the back of their heat. But it was like on lap 1, and so he ended up pretty much having a rough night because of that. So other than that, McDowell, that was the only one. McDowell on that initial start had pulled away from Hoffman, and Hoffman was not sleeping on the restart of the. Yeah, no, they did full restart because it was on lap 1, and Hoffman just goosed it around the top and pulled him. And I figured with the track being how it was, Mac Daddy was going to be tough on the bottom come feature. And he did. B mains, Brandon Overton in a B main, Ricky Thornton Jr. in a B main.
Wow.
Yeah. And a Hudson, like I said, after his in there, Gustin, which Gustin's full-time points World Outlaws, kind of a big deal. 45 cars, though, for just a regular weekly World Outlaws show is a pretty big deal. So, kind of tough to get in, but that they did the redraw, which you know how I feel about those. They did do the redraw where the ones redrew 1 through 4 and seconds drew 4 through 8. I as soon as they did a redraw, I was like, well, Davenport's going to draw 8, and Davenport drew 8 because that's how it works.
Yeah.
And I was really, I assumed that Bobby was going to draw 1. He drew 2nd, so he started on the outside. But yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Bobby Pierce was really good all night. Davenport, I think, was better than him. He led him. He passed him. I think if he would have got ahead of him, he would have done it. It was pretty tough to pass. So, but yes, they go to the redraw, and you had Hoffman and Bobby Pierce on the front row, and then you had Owens and Devin Moran, second row. So, they go in the feature. And this is the thing I didn't know. Okay, this is where if you look at our notes here, it says 35 laps, 12,000 win. I did not know this race was 35 laps.
Oh wow!
And
that's pretty quick.
I just assumed it was going to be 40, honestly, minimum 40 or 50, because that's usually what a World Outlaws race or Lucas race is. I feel like, So, anyway, so I'm watching the race. Lap 1, Davenport goes from 8th to 5th. And Pierce and Hoffman were kind of battling a little bit, but really, it was pretty clear Pierce was going to take him. I don't know how Bobby got it working, but he was kind of on the top. I mean, somehow. He didn't stay up there very long after that, but he was up there, got around Hoffman. And notice that around lap 8, Davenport slides around Devin Moran for 3rd. Lap 11, he goes around Nick Hoffman for 2nd. And then, from then on, I was like, well, the chase was on, and Bobby Pierce pretty clearly knew the chase was on. They went through some lap traffic, and Bobby, he big cojones moves there in traffic. Yeah. You know how it can get kind of on those slower tracks. Yeah. Like, lap traffic really matters a lot. These cars are so aero-dependent.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, too. Sometime around there, Bobby and Davenport pulled up behind Brian Shirley to lap him, and dude could not pass him. Yeah. And he was, they were probably behind him for 10 laps, just couldn't get around him, couldn't get a line, and couldn't get to stick. And then Davenport really ran down Pierce, and then he really couldn't get around him either, kind of the same thing. So I think that was for about the last 20 laps. I was keeping track of McDowell there because, this is his kind of track. And lap 14, he went to 5th. Lap 20, he goes to 4th. Lap 33, he goes to 3rd, and he was coming. He was not far behind Davenport and Bobby Pierce. And I look up, and I'm like, oh, yeah, this is McDowell time. There's 7 to 17 laps to go. Surely he's going to win. And then they come around, and the race is over, and I'm like, wait, what? What? Huh? What? And I pulled up my race pass, and it was 35-lap feature, and I was like, oh, wow.
I guess they were going off the 2-day show schedule there.
Well, hold on. No. We're going to talk about this. This is going to be a topic of discussion because I'm a little. I was a little upset. I feel like that is too short. I felt like we got robbed of a really good race. I felt like you're about to have a three-way battle with Pierce, Davenport, and McDowell, and that's three guys that know what to do. And interestingly enough, McDowell is going to be the bottom, Pierce is going to be on the top, and Davenport runs the middle. That's just kind of what they do. I mean, if you really think about it, that's kind of what they're known for. So I was really looking forward to it and seeing what happened there, and it ended. And I wasn't disappointed or anything, but I was just like, in my head, when I saw McDowell go to third, I was like, oh, baby, this is going to be good. And it just didn't happen that way. But yeah, so they ended up running 35-lap feature. Bobby Pierce wins. Bobby Pierce gets out and is like, this is not where I would have circled for a win on the schedule. And then everybody's like, yeah, no Sherlock. And then it's like, okay, so Bobby Pierce is probably going to win the World Outlaws title for those who aren't watching. I haven't really seen anybody put anything up too competitive on that this year. Gustin had flashes, evolution stuff. But, I mean, if Bobby Pierce is going to win at Smoky Mountain, y'all are in for a long season.
Definitely not a Bobby Pierce hammer down, tacked up type track for him to go get a win at.
Yeah, I was looking for your buddy.
Which one?
You think he snuck in victory lane?
He
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
The what was it? The Bama. What was he called?
I don't remember exactly.
Bama Mosas or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's a Bobby Pierce fan. That he sneaks into victory lane at all the dirt tracks. Apparently, I mean, basically that's what he said. And then he this is from last year at the Lucas race. For those of you that don't know, which is everybody other than Dan. But anyways, this guy he goes down and he's gonna buy a shirt because he didn't have a Bobby Pierce shirt.
Yeah.
Well, really, what it was, he wasn't sure Bobby Pierce was gonna win, and I guess Bobby Pierce wasn't there. Actually, come think of it, and he was like, I gotta buy a shirt. Well, he goes and he's talking about Brandon Overton as his best friend.
Yeah.
This week because Brandon Overton's there. So he goes and he comes back with like a Lucas Oil long sleeve shirt, which is cool. I don't care, but and then he goes in victory lane when Brandon Overton wins because, him and Brandon's best friends. And him and Bobby Pierce are best friends. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, because you just go down. I mean, that's cool, but, it's always a good time at the dirt track.
Oh, yeah. You never know what you're going to see.
Like, you might hear better stories at the dirt track than you do it at the fishing tournament, Yeah. So, but, yeah, I didn't see him. I did not see him. But,
what about our other buddies? Did they make a trip back? I know we hadn't seen them there in a minute.
Dude, I thought so. There was a Duramax backed in next to me, and I was like, oh, baby. Like when we went to the pits and came back, and it was not them, but I was hoping. I hadn't seen him, man.
It's been
hopefully we'll see him. I figure there'll be a chance because, we're still going to have Lucas again. You got a couple decent races at I-75, and they like Bulls Gap, too. And I'll probably go to that Thursday night Scott Bloomquist Memorial that Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell are going to race in late models. Hopefully. Bobby, you're here this weekend, Tennessee, and you get to set up with Christopher Bell. I need to see Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson race at Volunteer Speedway. Please, Lord, let it happen. All right. I need to get a good reel together so we can get that published because we need some help on their RTs there. But yeah, so anyways, race was really good. We stayed and watched street stocks and front runners because, kid was like, nah, don't want to go home. I don't know if I sent you the picture, but he's sitting in the chair in the back of my truck with his blanket on, and he's like, no, go home. No, go home. But so we stayed. I think there was one that was still running when I left. Rolled right out. Did not see anybody cutting through the field.
Wow.
So I guess everybody listened to us. Good for them. But yeah, it was a good night. But here's the questions I have. Is 35 laps long enough for a touring race, a.k.a. Lucas, World Outlaws, or, Flow Racing? I guess those are the top three.
Personally, no.
Is that long enough?
No.
I mean, is that long enough at Eldora?
No. I don't think you should be under 40 laps at all for a national race.
I agree. I think for a prelim type feature, that would be acceptable. I don't think 35 is enough. So, very similar to you, was like, oh, well, this must just be because they were going to run 2 races, yada, yada, yada. Well, guess what? World Outlaws is going to Swainsboro this weekend. Doubleheader. Guess what? They're going to run They're going to run 35 laps Friday and Saturday.
Both nights.
Mm-hmm.
What in the world?
12K, 15K. Same thing that was scheduled at World Outlaws.
Wild.
And, I don't know, man.
What's the point of that? Are they thinking they're going to save teams money on tires or something? I mean, like, what?
I guess maybe they're trying to save something somewhere, or they're trying to make the 50-lap races mean something. I don't really know. It's weird. I looked up our the other competitor series there. Lucas Oil is going to run 50 this weekend. They're going to, I put it in here somewhere, right? They're going to Atomic at Brownstown. 15 on Friday at Atomic, 25 at Brownstown on Saturday. Both of them 50 laps.
Yeah.
Which is what I've always been used to running for a National Tour race.
Yeah.
I'm with you. 40 can be okay. We've watched some for 40, and maybe if you're only going to pay 12K at this point, then 40 is probably acceptable. 15 should be 50, though. Sorry. And I'm with you. Like, is that 15 laps? How much money is that really saving? And I'm a fan, as we know this podcast is by fans, for fans, but do you really think that's saving them that much money?
I don't know that it's, I don't think it's really saving anybody any money, but it could also be, they're trying to maybe somehow create more excitement in the race, give drivers more of a sense of an urgency to move forward or something. But at the same time, I mean, like you said earlier, these cars are so aero dependent, they can't really do that.
I had that thought too, but I mean, I don't want to see tire issues and tires blowing out and guys losing races. We've seen that in the past. You're probably not going to see that on a 35-lap race, but also, like, you kind of really got to go right off the rip in a 35-lap race. You can't pace yourself at all. And I mean, I'm making jokes about Bobby winning, but like, if that's a 50-lap race, Bobby Pierce doesn't
probably
win
not winning.
If it was 40 laps, I'm not sure he won it because Davenport was right there and McDowell was coming. Although McDowell, I think, did end up getting passed back by Hoffman, but I don't know. I just think it's interesting they're going 35 laps. Curious what that say. I really like the fact they went to it looks like most of their shows are going to be 3 classes. So, like, they're not really trying to play a bunch of games. And, and even though they did it, so they did hot laps. Then they did hot laps for the sport classes. Then they did heats, and they did the other hot laps. Like, there was not dead time. And then once they started their heat races, it was World Outlaws all the time. They did their B mains, and then they did the redraw, and then or they did the redraw, then the B mains, and then the feature. Like, there was nothing else on the track, and I liked it. And if I was sitting at home watching it, I wouldn't have fallen asleep. I think for us East Coast guys, that's kind of a big deal. Like, I find myself all the time for those races, and especially later in the summer we get when they got to start when it's dark. Like, you start getting to 11, 12 o'clock at night, it's hard to actually stick around for the feature. But, like, I can stay up for 15 more laps of a feature.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Just something for them to look at. And maybe it's a money incentive for the tracks to pay more money, I think the cheapest races they're doing now is, like, 15. Like I said, they were about to have 12K and 15K. Don't quote me on that, for Lucas, but I think if I remember right, they're up to 15 now. So, I don't know. Overall, I want to see 40 minimum, and that's really only if it's going to be 2 nights at the same track.
Yeah.
In my opinion. If you want to run 35, that's fine, but like 35 or 25 should probably be like twin qualifying features for
something like that.
Big race, but I don't know. And maybe they're paying better through the field. Maybe it does save more than we realize. Maybe, this is what I was thinking about. So I say it's not saving that much. Well, if they do that 2 nights in a row, that's 30 laps on a motor they just saved.
Yeah, that's true.
So when you start thinking about races and laps on motors, it really does help their guys probably on that, which that's obviously expensive when you get to doing refreshes. So if you can save a refresh every other weekend or whatever, maybe that's worth it. So I don't know, just something to pay attention to, see how that goes. And like I said, race is going to be very exciting in 35 laps for World Outlaws. All right, moving on. High Limit, that was the other dirt race I watched this weekend. They got rained out on Thursday. They got rained out on Friday, I think. Saturday, yes, they got rained out on Thursday, Friday, race Saturday after the Xfinity race. I was watching this. Ty Gibbs made it through his heat, qualified in the A main.
Did a roll.
Lap 1 rolls over 4 times going down the back stretch.
Yeah.
Not clear.
Welcome to sprint cars.
I really don't know how much racing he has done without a spotter.
Yeah.
I don't know, the younger ranks. I think he did mostly Legends and Bandoleros before he got in stock cars. So, like, I don't know. I think they have spotters, but I don't really know. So, yeah, anyways, tough hit for Ty Gibbs. Glad to see him get up and out of the car. He was out of it in a hurry. You know how, like, he got out of it so fast, it felt like, uh-oh, Pop-Pop's watching or whatever he calls him. I got to get the hell out of this car right now. That's kind of been a big deal. Joe Gibbs has not let his guys race. We talked about, Christopher Bell being able to get back in a sprint car this year, and then Ty Gibbs goes out and flips it 4 times on the first lap.
Yeah.
He was competitive before that. He did good in his heat race and everything, so, like, good job on that. And I know I was kind of, like, making some comments like, it's not competing and if you're not in contention, and he did make the A-main, so congratulations to him on that. Another thing interesting here, and I don't know, you probably didn't watch it, but they got Darren Pittman was leading, or Daryl Pittman, whatever, he used to run World Outlaws. I think it's Darren Pittman. Anyways, he was running Christopher Bell's car because Christopher Bell decided he wasn't going to race Saturday night before the Cup race. Ty Gibbs did and flipped the car, interestingly enough. So he decided he wasn't going to run. Pittman's running his car, and he's leading the race and pretty well running away with it. And he starts running out of gas, like 5 laps to go. And I'm like, the hell? Never seen this in a late model race.
No.
Really? And this is this is a 50-lap race or 30 lap. I think it's 30-lap race. I think is what they run in all the sprint car races. So he's like, back and forth and all this, and he ends up getting passed from the lead and gets back to 5th. They throw a caution. Well, they go to open red and do the fuel stop, and they're explaining, this is something I don't watch a lot of sprint car racing. They're explaining they have like a lap count before the race of green, red lap, or green, yellow laps. Once they get to a certain number, they're going to have a fuel stop because they know they're going to run out of gas. Well, the number was like 65 pre-race, and then they were only at like 50-something, and people were running out of gas. And it wasn't just him, the leader. It was other people were also running out of gas. So they go to open red, let him gas him up, whatever. Well, he'd already fallen back to like 7th or 8th or whatever, so he was out of contention, so he pretty well got screwed. Corey Day and Kyle Larson were 2nd and 3rd, just inherited 1st and 2nd. Corey Day and Larson tried on the restart, couldn't keep up with him. Corey Day gets the win. And a lot of heat from some of the late model guys on the sprint car guys today on X about fuel tank sizes. Yeah. They're like, guys, it's 30 laps. What are you doing? Apparently, one of the comments why they don't run bigger fuel cells is bigger they get, heavier they get, the harder they are to keep on the car in the case of a crazy accident, which I guess makes sense. Also, there's just not a lot of there on a sprint car, so you start making those gas tanks bigger, and the dangers get bigger for sure. So, I was thinking what they could do is just add starters and then just stop.
Yeah.
Have a red flag and then fire them back up, line them back up.
That'd be a bit hard for them.
What I did there?
Yeah, I like it. Another thing about that, though, sprint cars, that if you make a bigger tank, you're just adding more weight to the rear of the car, which definitely make it drive different, but I'm sure, the teams could figure out setups around that, but that's just another thing.
Well, they were even making comments that maybe those teams didn't fill those tanks all the ways up because they didn't want too much weight back there because they can make them handle different. But Kyle Busch was on the broadcast there for Flo. He also did the broadcast for Xfinity on CW, and apparently Kyle Busch is going into TV. I guess if you have a kid that races, you have to go into TV to continue to pay for your kid to race. So I guess that's why Harvick's doing it, and I guess that's why Kyle Busch can do it. And I'll tell you right now, Kyle Busch, they need to kick Clint Boyer out when Kyle Busch can do it. It is what it is. He was pretty solid. So, but it's pretty cool to see him do Flow and CW, Xfinity, and the Dirt. Yeah. Also, being the hometown boy in Vegas, I thought that was a pretty cool deal. So it was a good night. Liked watching that. I think that about wraps up for Dirt this week. What we got to watch, Lucas is at Atomic and Brownstown, like I said. Friday and Saturday, 50 laps pop. World Outlaws at Swainsboro for a doubleheader. Some of the World Outlaws guys ran Swainsboro with Hunt to front, and I believe it was Ryan Gustin.
I think so, yeah.
I think Ryan Gustin won. So We'll see what he did there. I believe I put him in our picks against Bobby Pierce because he had already been there and had some success earlier in the year. So we will talk about those next week. We will also, I'm going to be looking at doing the points next week for Lucas and World Outlaws. We're going to do our predictions here for NASCAR, and then we'll either do one or both next week for our 2 dirt series. That way this is their first head-to-head weekend, so we can see who's running what. Curious to see how that shakes out. I was kind of looking at World Outlaws and like, there's kind of a lot of guys, but like there is Bobby Pierce up here, and then we're down here after that. Yeah. I think Ryan Gustin can make the jump. Is probably my favorite out of that group that's in there. Hoffman, maybe. I just worry that they don't race.
Hoffman's too spotty, man. He's not ever. I mean, he's fast at times, but I feel like he's not always very consistent.
The most success he ever had in his modified was racing all the time, and I feel like he just doesn't race that much. And I don't know if he needs to get back in the modified or they need to run the stuff more, but they pretty much don't roll his car out unless it's a World Outlaws event. So, just something to kind of pay attention to, in my opinion. All right, moving on to the asphalt. I've pretty much only watched the Cup race, so that's really all I'm here to talk about. Did you watch Xfinity or Trucks? Got any comments you need to make?
I saw the very end of the Xfinity race and watched most of the Cup race there.
How'd you feel about the Xfinity race?
I just saw the very end of it. I saw Allgaier won.
Yeah, Allgaier dominated the entire race, other than freaking Eric Amarola in the Young Life car.
Yeah, I
got past him at the end of stage 2.
Me and old Bernard out there were watching that, and I was like, oh, is he going to wreck him again? Go 2 for 2?
Man. Well, it wasn't 17.
Yeah.
17's going to be back this week, though.
Yeah. It will.
So, yeah, I don't know. Xfinity, Allgaier pretty well smacked him around, and in the Trucks, Corey Heim pretty well smacked him around, I think. He did have to go to the back for some issue. So they had 2 rain delays during the truck race. And I happened to be leaving Smoky Mountain. I just turned on the radio.
Yeah.
And was like clicking through, it's an hour home. I was just like, because it's a little farther out. Some of my Knoxville stations don't pick up perfect out there. And somehow I picked up this NASCAR station out of Athens that apparently is carrying Truck Series and Xfinity. And I was like, so you can probably get that at the house. It's like 1017. So shout out to them for carrying all the races. Because up here, I haven't heard a NASCAR race on the radio other than a Cup race in years.
Yeah.
Other than have to listen on my app or whatever. So that's cool. It's out of Athens. If you can find it, you can listen to them. But yeah, so I was listening to that on the way home, and they had another rain delay. Like I pulled up at we had pizza for lunch. And then we didn't eat anything at the racetrack. At one point, I went to concession stands right before the feature, that little concession stand there in Tier, and they were shutting it down. And I was like, oh, shit. Missed the pork skins. Unfortunately, he was leaving when I got back. And I tried to wave at him, and then I didn't want to walk back over to the front. No kettle corn there. So that was a little disappointing. But, yeah, I did see, was it Hogs Haven? Something like that? Hog Haven. And he was like in the golf cart heading away. And I was like, damn. But I was hoping he'd come back. He just never made it, so I did not get any. But so we ate that pizza, and I was like, it was like, I don't know, midnight, and I was pulling back over here by the house, and I was like, all I ate today was a little bit of that pizza, and Logan pretty much just ate it and then slobbered all over it. So I didn't eat that much of it. So I was like, I'm gonna stop over here at the McDonald's and get me a burger. And they had that rain delay, and I was like, all right. So I got home, put him in bed, and then I watched the end of the truck race. When I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever it was. But Heim gets the win after that. So that's pretty much all I got on that. That's 2 wins for Corey Heim, both races that Kyle Busch wasn't in. So just as a quick reminder. So he's probably going to be pretty good. He's also tapped to be the next Toyota Cup guy, I think, at this point. So it's not a big surprise. But Cup race. Before we get in all this, I just want to say this. That was the sloppiest Cup race I have watched in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
Drivers,
Definitely.
pit crews, all of it. It's just slop fest. So I'm gonna let you handle it.
The craziest thing that I want to say, and this was later in the race that this happened, but the way they caught that crap with Bell's car, and had him go down and pull into Briscoe's stall.
Yeah.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah, I don't even know where to start. And I listened to right before the podcast tonight, before we recorded, I listened to the actions detrimental because I wanted to see, because I knew he was going to have to weigh in. And basically what I heard when he opened his mouth was like this: "It was us. I'm not going to bitch about it." That's pretty much what I heard.
Yeah.
It's a really bad precedence, man, because so from Christopher Bell's perspective, from Adam Stevens, his crew chief, from the 19 team, we'll get to them actually. We're going to talk about from Christopher Bell's perspective. Great move. Perfect.
Yeah.
You realize you got a flat, or not flat, but loose wheel.
slug.
You can either slow down or back up to your box or turn in a teammate's box, let them tighten up, whatever. Whatever you do, it doesn't really matter. You're screwed either way. Even if you back up to your own box, you're going to the longest line because you're the last one off pit road. It really doesn't matter, right? At the end of the day. As long as you get it tight, you're not losing 2 laps, and you're not losing 2 guys next week on the pit crew, right? So it really doesn't matter. Well, so he pulls in the box, does a great job slowing down, getting there. I am curious how the communication got
how they got
the 19 on which tire to tighten or whatever. And I don't know if you saw, but he actually went to the front on the right first, then came back to the left. The jack man obviously had jacked the car up. So this is not just like – that's the other thing I think some people don't realize. Like, really, with how this works in that situation, you really have to jack the car up, back it off, then put it back on, make sure it's not cross-threaded, and then put it back down, right? Because it's not tight, so you really got to back it off and put it all the ways back on so the wheel can sit flush, right? And really good move on his part. And I don't blame the 19 for doing it.
No.
If they were like 1 and 2 in the race or something, I don't know that you do that, teammate or not.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. If that's the championship race and it's the 19 versus the 20, and the championship race is the 19 tightening that lug,
probably not. Probably loosen it.
So I have a little bit of the problem with like the 100%. They have that 100% competition rule, and I feel like that's where it gets into. And this is where it really creates a big problem. Now, this is where actions detrimental is actually very incisive. So that's been my opinion on this whole thing. Is we've created a slippery slope now. And Denny was pointing out the fact that, well, it really doesn't have to be your teammate's box. It has to be anybody on your team who rents a pit crew from you. I.e., if you're a Spire Motorsports, and let's say Kyle Larson has a loose wheel and pulls in your pit box and says, "Tighten this, baby," you don't say no.
Yeah.
Because you're renting a pit crew from him. Like, you can say no and then not have a pit crew next week.
Yeah.
Then Casper and JP can be in them lug nuts. The jack, I'll be the jack man.
Yeah.
I got to wait for it. So it's. I don't like it. I want to see a rule against it. Actually, Denny said he don't want to see any rules added mid-season. I think this is a big problem because I feel like this actually turns into almost like a manufacturer type situation. Is almost what it gets to where if you're in a Chevy this weekend and you have a loose wheel going off pit road, you're pulling in whoever's the farthest Chevy down pit road, box 1, 2, or 3, right? So, and I don't really like it. It's not that it's unfair. It's just against the spirit of competition in my mind. These, like, teammates are great. Teammates are cool, but when the pit crews start doing work on your teammate's car, that's too much to me when it's something like that. If they're working on a wrecked race car, that's part of the sport, been a part of the sport for a long time. You see that at the local level. Guys from other teams helping guys that tear their shit up, like getting it fixed. So, like, but it's not the same whenever it's, well, no, we screwed up and we didn't tighten this, you know. So I want to see something change. I think you should have to stop in your box, your own box. In the event that you haven't, this is the one thing they do have to watch, and it happens every once in a while. We don't do it anymore. For a long time, Dover, they had to basically share a pit box until somebody was out of the race.
Yeah.
And usually the better team would just pit both cars on separate laps or whatever. So there needs to be some kind of rule about you can't hit the same pit box on the same lap or something like that on the same trip down pit road in case something does come up. Like, this is out there, but God forbid, like, one of these pit boxes catches on fire and you have to pit and you don't have an air tank to pit with because your pit box is caught on fire, well, yeah, maybe then you need to go in pit box. Like, I know that's out there, but like this, it could happen because I don't know if you noticed, but anything that you don't think could ever happen
can happen
in NASCAR. So, but there needs to be some kind of rule against. That's my opinion. What about you? I mean, are you want a rule or you just?
I don't. Like you said with like the local track stuff. I mean, you see it all the time. I mean, you go to a local, say, crate race or a topless Outlaws race. You see them, they cut a tire, they go into the pit area, and every damn crew guy in there is hustling, picking up the car, or using the jack 9 times out of 10. They just get 5 dudes over there to pick up on the fuel cell gauge and put the damn right rear on and let it rip. But, I mean, I don't know. It's definitely a slippery slope if they start going down it.
I think the better question, and this is getting into a cesspool I'm not sure I really want to go into, but like pit crews have become so important in NASCAR because of the one wheel or one lug. I'm sorry, one wheel. Because of the one lug. It's like the pit stops are so fast that they have to be right all the time, and it means so much more. I was trying to figure this out. We used to have to wait for gas. Nobody waits for gas anymore, and it's just because we're splitting the stages in half. So we don't have to wait for gas anymore because you know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I did not love it. I want something to change. But, like, I want the pit crews to be a part of it, but I don't want them to be the whole thing. Yeah. And, like, overall from the race yesterday, I mean, the cars, we're back to the aero dependency we were before the next-gen card where you can't pass nobody. Yeah. I mean, you took Daniel Suarez and put him in the lead after running 30th, and he was great. You took Chase Elliott, who had driven past a couple cars, was leading, went in the back, couldn't pass nobody. Christopher Bell, same thing. Ryan Blaney, he's the only one that really had any success passing people at all from the back. Byron did okay, but he didn't make it back in time. Larson did okay, but Byron was better than him. So, like, you had Byron back there with 20-lap pressure tires.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't know. It's just they're in a weird spot on that whole pit crew, pit stop, stage, break. I don't know. I hated to see that the beginning of the race yesterday felt kind of like the old race that everybody used to take a nap between. Yeah. I found myself looking up going, I'm glad this is a 400-mile race. And I was like, oof, that's not something I've said in a long time.
One thing about pit crews that I didn't really understand until this weekend watching some Formula One racing with my buddies. Formula one team, one pit box. Red Bull, one pit box, 2 cars. Yeah. All that stuff. I did not know that. I mean, could NASCAR go to something like that? Probably not. That would totally screw it all up at, like, drafting tracks and stuff like that. We were actually talking about that because I saw that for the first time and telling my buddies, like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess you hadn't watched much F1, but
no.
That's definitely been F1 for a long time. It's really cool when they double stack stops and on the same lap pit 2 cars. That's actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
If you haven't ever seen that, when this is over, I would suggest you look that up on YouTube. It's it's wild because they'll do 2 stops back to back in under 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, there's sometimes the car's literally waiting to get in the box for the other one to leave.
Yeah.
I've seen that once or twice, not much, but yeah, I mean, NASCAR could go something like that, and it would definitely change the strategy. I don't think that's NASCAR, though.
No,
I hope they don't go to that, but they could. I think they do some of that same kind of thing in IMSA, too, just for the record, if you have team cars. I think. I'm not sure. I think they do that in IMSA, too. But, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. The wheels, here's what I'm talking about with loose wheels. There were so many loose wheels, though. Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
And, they did a good job, I think, on Fox talking about that. It's really, a lot of times it is the Jackman.
Yeah.
Which I think was good this week because there was a lot of talk like, why are we suspending the Jackman? What did the Jackman do? He's not changing tires. Well, with one
He's
load,
the reason they're not getting tight.
If he drops it, then it's not sitting flush. You can't tighten it. Any of y'all that have ever tried to tighten your wheel on your car while it was sitting on the ground, that was like, that's why. So don't do that. But yeah, I mean, like I don't know. It's interesting. I was curious, is there some kind of visual thing they can do to change because you can't watch both at the same time.
No,
you can't do your eyes like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see. they've gone to like try and do these visuals instead of like commands, but dude, it's almost like, does somebody from the back of the box need to be saying drop it or
something
like that? But I'll tell you what, dude, at some point these guys are gonna have to slow down because you're costing the whole race.
Yeah.
One spot's nothing when it comes to the whole race, and I know that it's that edge that you got to be on, but I mean, I can't give you the whole list of loose wheels. Cindric had a loose wheel after he was leading. Kyle Busch had a loose wheel.
Yep.
Bowman said he had a loose wheel. Josh Berry had a loose wheel at some point. I'm pretty sure. I had that in my notes anyways that he did. I don't know exactly when that was, but, it's just like, I mean, how are we getting wheels? We had Kyle Busch lost one. Somebody else lost one too. Kyle Busch lost one, and SVG.
Yeah. No, he just wrecked.
Chase Briscoe, 19. Chase Briscoe lost one too. So, like, them two guys are getting crews suspended.
Yeah.
Got held. It was 19 lost the wheel in the middle of that first pit cycle in the first stage. That's when the first one was. And then Kyle's did that thing where, like, it came off and cut the wheel in half.
Yeah.
That crap's
Weird.
wild too. It goes rolling across the track like a tire with no wheel in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's strange. It was just a sloppy race, man. So many guys gave it away. Cindric gave it away by having a loose wheel. Chase gave it away speeding on pit road. There was a lot of speeding on pit road.
Wasn't there like 10 speeding penalties or something?
Yeah, there
like
was.
That?
Yeah, it was 10. So that's a lot for sure. Josh Berry, we did have a restart, 20 to go. After who hit the wall? Gregson hit the wall. Something like 25, 20 to go. And I really did not think that Berry was going to be able to hold on because, you had some of them up there with him. And then Suarez held on in front of him even longer than I thought he was going to do, Priest was up there. So Byron was up there, and I really thought Byron was going to win the race there. And then he ended up getting passed by Priest. I was like, where in the hell did Ryan Priest come from? God. Like, did not have Ryan Priest with a top 5 on my bingo card for Vegas. Also didn't have A.J. Allmendinger for a top 10. A.J. was in there all day, too. Like, I know it's funny with A.J. because there was a lot of guys that, like, crapped the bed and fell to the bottom, and A.J. just stayed all day. So there's some guys that passed him, some guys that went behind him, but they ran consistent. And, I think for Colleague, that's what you have to do kind of to get a decent finish, and thankfully they had enough trouble that they got a good solid finish, and he was there. And then Ty Dillon at some points was running up there. I think he got in trouble later, but he was actually running like around 15th for a while. And I don't know, man, it's just crazy. Once you got to the back, you couldn't get out. Could not get out. This is pretty big. I mean, as far as Cup race goes, like I said, it was sloppy. There's a lot of, crazy driving, loose wheels, speeding. I mean, Hamlin speeding's nothing new. Chase speeding's got to quit and give me a heart attack. I was like, baby, we're in the lead. Yes! And then he's pulled off pit road so far ahead of everybody. I was like, I wonder if he was speeding.
Yeah.
Come back from caution, commercial.
Sure enough.
Great. And then Chase is like, nope, I knew that, my bad. Which, they pointed out the stat there, like he had sped once in 100 and something races before that, and then now he sped back-to-back weeks. So get it under control, Allen. Fix the lights on the dash. All right, that's all I got on that. I don't know. Overall, the race is pretty good. Did you see on SVG, he spun, he had a flat tire. We're not running interliners, right?
No, I don't think so.
There was a piece of rubber or something wrapped around his, and it looked like an interliner, and I was like, no, we don't have that. But anyways, all right, just double checking. I was the only one that saw that. I think cool. Goodyear ran commercials, like Goodyear, like race tire commercials. I haven't seen a Goodyear like race tire commercial in a long time. I thought it was awesome to see them doing that. They've been doing a good job, and they're here to sell tires, so y'all go buy them. I'm not going to. Y'all go buy them. I'm a Michelin man myself, sorry. Yeah. But I don't know. If they keep it up, I might buy some just to support. But, I tried to buy some last week on some Trail Boss wheels on Marketplace, just for the record. But it didn't work out. So, other than that, a lot of loose wheels, a lot of speed penalties. Josh Berry gets the win and basically takes all that crap from aero dependency, boring race, yada, yada, yada. We have a 20-lap run to the end. Josh Berry gets the win, driving around Daniel Suarez. Makes a good race. It went from like a to like heck yeah. For me, that's how I felt about the race overall. So, you glad to see Josh Berry win?
Good old-fashioned Tennessee ass whooping, baby.
Yes, sir. He should have done the crotch drop. Here's my question about Josh Berry for you. Does he win more this year?
I'd like to say yes, and I hope he does, but I don't know, man. These cup races are so everybody can win.
Yeah, it is as competitive as it has ever been. I think he does. He's been up there every week this year. Actually, he's been in contention, and I think he can actually drive. So I hate to do this. I'm not going to go the Penske. It's a fourth Penske car. I've always thought that, whether they were good or bad. I just never really knew why they were that bad. I just assumed they didn't have the right people in the pit box to make the car go fast, especially with Harrison Burton. And I've just decided that Harrison Burton just can't drive, actually. I'm sorry. I hate to be that guy, but Harrison Burton cannot drive, shouldn't drive. Yeah. He should look at a TV job, probably, is what he should do. And if he saw what Josh Berry has done this year, he's got to be like, I don't know.
Never getting back up in that car again.
He's not going back to that one. No.
Yeah.
He hasn't. I picked Jeb to beat him. And I don't think Jeb's really that good of a driver, and Jeb's not in that good equipment, and Jeb beat him the other week when we had him in the head-to-head. So it's like, sorry, Harry.
Yeah.
Hate it for you. And I think there's a lot of people that after this Josh Berry win were like, but this is kind of like the first real win for the 21 Carnival. I was trying to think. So I know that they won with Harrison Burton at like Daytona. Before that, was it like Blaney?
Probably Blaney somewhere, yeah.
On like fuel mileage or something. Like Blaney really wasn't even that good in that car.
No.
Blaney can drive, but like the car just wasn't that good. So this is a big deal for them, I think, to actually drive around and get like an actual win. And they were contenders, and I think that you can actually pencil them in for like top 10 next week contender anyway. So great job for them. But other than that, Justin Allgaier won the Xfinity race, Corey Heim won the truck race like I talked about. Moving on to the NASCAR picks. It's time for you to pick your championship for the Cup, the Xfinity, and the Truck Series, and we're going to start at the lower level like real men. Because we're going to go from the bottom to the top like we will with our shirts. And we're going to do truck first. Trucks, we're just going to pick a champion, not a Final Four, because I just don't really think there's enough guys in the truck to be worth picking a Final Four for, to be honest. I just want to pick a champion.
I'm just going to go out on a crazy limb here. This is probably not going to happen. But we're going to take Stuart Friesen.
So, yeah.
That's a long shot.
I wanted to so bad, and he ran good. He was actually up there in the front at Vegas. And, I was like, maybe Stewie's got it, And I don't know. We'll see what he can do. I like that pick. I'm going to go with I got two that I want to go with. I'm just going to tell you all my decision on this. My head says that Corey Heim is absolutely going to tear this field apart for the next 23 races they have left.
That's probably a good guess.
I really just think Tyler Ankram's actually going to win the championship. And I really think Corey Heim's probably going to deserve the championship, but I'm going to give it to Tyler Ankram. I don't know why. It's just sometimes I just feel like Corey Heim's going to choke at the end, or something's going to – it's really not even a choke. Something's going to happen in the truck, and it's so hard to win. I think Corey Heim will have the best year, but I think Tyler Ankram wins the championship. That's my prediction there. All right, moving on up to the Xfinity Series. We are going to pick a Final Four for the Xfinity Series. And, I can go first if you want to.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay. Jeez. I'm double checking my work here because I'm just not sure how I feel about it. I'm gonna go the one of Carson Kvapil.
That's a good one.
He's been consistently up there. The junior motorsports cars have been good. I think that he's gonna be in contention. I am gonna go with the 21 Austin Hill because he has been in contention every single race so far this year for the Xfinity Series, obviously. And this is where I've got like a few in this 3rd to 4th range, and any of them that are in that could win. I'm going to go with the 41 of Sam Mayer. And it's mostly just because I actually think that Haas Xfinity program is actually fairly decent. They don't have Cole Custer. Obviously, he's back in the Cup Series. Sam Mayer is, I think that's the A team for that team.
Mm-hmm.
They have another car, but I think he's going to be pretty good. I actually think he can drive. I think he has enough experience at this point that to be a contender. And I don't know that he's going to be like superstar stellar, but I think he's going to be very consistent. And so I'm going to give it to Sam Mayer to make it in. And my 4th one, I feel crazy rookie, crazy kid, going to wreck a lot of crap this year. But I'm going to go ahead and give it to him, Connor Zilic, to put it in the Final Four for the Xfinity Championship. And I'm going to go ahead and give the win to the 21 Austin Hill. I think Austin Hill has been the class of the field so far this year. I think last year he was pretty solid as well. And the biggest reason I think that is, like, they look good yesterday. They look good at, was it Phoenix they were at? They look, I mean, he's been in contention, Coda, all of them. So that's not something that you always would have said about Austin Hill and that team. So I'm going to give it to Austin Hill as my champion for the Xfinity Series this year. All right, who you got?
My championship for the Xfinity Series. We're going to start out with Austin Hill. He's good everywhere, pretty much. Those RCR Xfinity cars are the cars to beat pretty much almost every week, you know.
Ish.
I'm also going to take Jesse Love in the championship for
RCR sweep.
Yep. And for the 3rd driver, we're going to take Brandon Jones. And your 4th and championship winner will be Justin Allgaier.
You think he can go back-to-back?
I think so.
I think back-to-back is super hard in championships these days. I think yesterday shows that Justin has a little more toughness than he's had in the past because he choked so bad at Phoenix and then, came back yesterday, got the win, dominated. And the car's clearly got it. He's got it, so we'll see what he can do. That's definitely not a bad pick. Neither of us have really reached too deep into the bucket there in the Xfinity Series, I don't think. Other than your Brandon Jones, he's going to wreck, so I don't even know why you'd be talking about that. Also, I'm pretty sure he's driving the 20 car. All right. I really don't know, though. I'm going to go look, though, so I can know.
Pretty sure it's the 19.
Because I keep getting so confused about Brandon Jones because he changes. It's the 20.
I'm going to look it up right now.
It's the 20 I'm looking right now.
Well,
yeah, but it's okay because he used to drive the 19. I mean, he changes cars every other year. Next year, he'll be back at, JRM or something because he's got money like that. All right, moving to the Cup Series. We're going to give our Final Fours one at a time. You do one, I do one, then we'll give our championship. So, who you got first?
I got the 24, Willie B.
Oh, yeah, go figure. Well, I do too. So, we're both putting Byron in the championship. How's it feel?
I mean, I don't know how you can. He's been super good. He's consistent.
Yeah.
He's got the speed. Now, hopefully, he doesn't fade out in the middle of the year and towards the end like he kind of did last year. But I mean,
I think if you look over about the last year and a half at Hendrick, I think he's the best driver on a consistent basis.
Yeah,
I think
for
Larson's
sure.
the most talented, but Larson still does Larson stuff. He still wrecks a lot of cars, unfortunately. I just don't know that Kyle Larson's ever going to fix that. And I don't care if he doesn't. People ask me who my driver is these days. I've chased because of the 24. I've really got to like Larson because I love the dirt. I love the Indy car. I love the late models. I love the sprint car. I love the fact he'll drive anything. So, Larson's also my driver. And then now Byron's in the 24 doing good. And I've got to where he's got some personality on him. And I kind of like him too. So, but, I think Byron's been the best probably over the last year and a half. If I had to pick one, I probably
he's definitely been the most consistent.
It's the best driver. So, it's a good pick. All right, who's your number 2?
That would be the 5 car of Kyle Larson.
Absolutely no chance in hell.
Nah. He'll get locked in there. He'll bring it together.
Not having on that. I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell for my number 2. I think he's pretty well shown what he's gonna do, and I think you're gonna see him doing a lot of good moving forward for the year. The sketchy thing about this Final Four, and we hadn't talked about this, that daggum Talladega is in the round of 8.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah.
You better get some points between now and then, boys. That's all I got to say. Stage points are going to matter. All right, number 3.
Well, my number 3 is your number 2 of Christopher Bell.
C. Bell, here to dominate. All right, my number 3 is the Dennis of Hamlin's.
Oh, Lord.
Yep, Denny is going to make the Final Four, and spoiler, he is going to drink a Coca-Cola.
As always.
And then he's going to retire, like I said last week.
Oh, man. All right, so my 4th and final championship 4 driver, as well as the NASCAR Cup champion this year, will be the number 45 of Tyler Reddick.
Oh, Tyler Reddick. Wow. That's,
I know it's out there.
No, it's
but
not.
I just got a feeling.
It's not. He's been a little off to start this year. I don't feel like that's going to last. I feel like this week at Homestead they'll have a good chance to put that to rest. All right, my number 4 is going to be Josh Berry. I think Josh Berry's been very consistent this year. Been up front a lot of tracks. I think he is the right guy with the right attitude to just kind of do it. And I actually am going to pick him as the only Penske car. What I think is interesting for you is you have no Penske cars in.
Screw them. Don't need them.
That's fine. They've been really good at Vegas, which is a lock-in race for this, which I don't know if it is this year because of the Talladega move. So you're going to be Martinsville, Talladega, and maybe Vegas for the other one. I don't know what the other race is. I think it is Vegas, but for that last round. So interesting to see. I mean, Penske's pretty well dominated Vegas, other than Bell winning, I guess, last spring. But we'll see what happens. I think Josh Berry has kind of secretly, quietly been the best Penske car out there this year. I think Blaney was a better car yesterday, but he just can't. I'm afraid Blaney's in his own head at this point.
Me and Dad were talking about that earlier. Blaney's just had absolutely terrible luck this year, wrecking just about every race.
Well, but like yesterday, he wrecked himself.
Yeah.
He didn't know, and I'm really curious to listen to the Spotter podcast and find out, what the opinions were on that. Because he clearly, I don't think he would have gone up if he would have known that he had 2 on top of him. So I hadn't seen the Spotter video. Like to see it, like to hear the audio for sure. So we'll see. I'm gonna go with Christopher Bell for the champion. Though I think
you're on that early season hype train.
It's not the early season hype train. It's the fact that I think Christopher Bell is coming into his own. I think we've seen champions over the last few years have been guys that came into their own. Chase, Larson, Blaney. It's just, I think it's time. I think it's time. So, I think the sprint cars are going to go a long way for the old C. Bell. I think he's. I said it last week on here. It's just the confidence in the man is something different than I've seen before, and I don't think he's racing scared. So, we'll see what happens there, and I don't know. We'll come back and check it out and see who was right. All right, we're going to go over our picks from last week, then we'll do our picks for this week. Last week, World Outlaws, Tanner English versus Dalton Wilson. I picked English. You picked Wilson. Wilson didn't make the feature. Sucks to be you. English finished 11th. Trucks, we both picked Corey Heim, and then Corey Heim versus Tanner Gray. Corey Heim won the race, so good job to you on that one. Xfinity, we picked Brandon Jones versus Justin Allgaier. Justin Allgaier won the race, so you suck. Cup race, we picked Kyle Busch versus Chris Buescher. We both picked Kyle Busch.
That did not happen.
And it would have happened until the wheel was loosened and the car hit the wall, and then we cussed on radio.
Yeah.
And, now, I will say this. Kyle Busch was almost our first incident there of the, getting put in their garage, getting repaired, and coming back out and running laps. First caution from that. So they ended up not calling the yell, and they called it for something else, but he did hit the wall. Bell versus Hamlin, both picked Bell, and Bell did indeed beat Hamlin. So I went 4-1 this week. So good job to me. I believe that's the best pick session anybody's had. You went 3. You went 2-3. I took the win. I'm now up 4-1. So I suggest you figure out how to do better. This week's cool. We have 5 different series. We got World Outlaws, Lucas Trucks, Xfinity, and Cup. Since you were behind, I'm going to let you go after me, so I'm going to go first. Pierce versus Gustin at Swainsboro. I'm going to go with the Gustin of Gustins. Just because he was solid down there last year.
Yeah.
It sounds
crazy. I know
crazy.
It's not a Bobby track, but he
just
won at a non-Bobby track, so maybe
it matter this weekend.
Maybe they got that slick shit figured out.
Yeah, if he goes and wins this weekend, it's going to be a long year for anybody else on World Outlaws Tour. I'm just going to tell you. Yeah. Lucas, we got Shepherd versus Huddy.
That's you.
I'm going to go Hudson. They've been pretty good in SSI Motorsports number 71 machine.
I would disagree with you. I'm going to take Shepherd. He's been okay, but he's just hadn't been great that he has. Done? Nothing great, but, I mean, he's still Shepherd.
Right. I haven't seen Brandon. I mean, I'm not, we can talk about this, I guess, next week in the points. But, Brandon Shepherd, man. There's been some guys in the dirt world basically been non-existent this year.
Yeah.
And for a while, unfortunately. So, trucks, we got, this is the Kyle Larson special. Kyle Larson is running the triple duty this weekend, so I decided that every single one of these matchups is going to be Kyle Busch at Homestead.
You mean Kyle Larson?
Wow, I need to go to bed. Kyle Larson is running the triple duty. I'm just used to Kyle Busch doing it, I'm surprised he's not. What a pansy. Kyle Larson is running the truck race. I'm assuming that's a Spire truck, I guess. Probably the 7, probably the same one that Kyle Busch won in Atlanta, so they're looking for their second race of the year, just like the 11's looking for their third. So, Larson versus Corey Heim. Yeah, I'm going to take Larson.
Yeah, I mean... I guess I'll take Heim to be opposite, but I'm going to just say this now. You best break out the brooms this weekend, big dog.
It's easy to think that it is so hard to do. Like, somebody the other day was talking about Kyle Busch sweeping Bristol at one time. It is so hard to sweep 3. Like, it's so hard. It doesn't matter if you're in top-notch equipment or not. Xfinity. Larson versus Zilich.
That's you. You got to go first. You done said it this morning or earlier.
17's going to win, for sure.
I would probably agree with you.
You're not going against Larson. Larson's going to win that race. You can't beat me if you're wrong. So, unless he wrecks, which, I'm curious if AA Amarola is going to be in that race, because we could see a continuation of that 17 drama. 17 hadn't been back on the track, so we'll see what happens there. And then in the Cup Series, we're going to wrap it up with our battle of the year. Kyle Larson versus Christopher Bell. I'm going to go with Bell.
I'll take Larson.
I figured you might. That's why I took Bell.
Going with the sweep Larson this weekend, baby.
I mean, I'm glad that you believe in him. I just don't see it. Sweep is hard, bro.
It is hard.
Sweep is hard. It's hard.
But here's what's going to happen. He's going to come out, sweep this weekend. He's going to get his shit back together and go on an ass-whooping tear and just start being up front, being more consistent, winning races, and then we're going to go out and choke it in the championship.
Glad you know. iRacing this week. How's that been? You tried out that new...
that ARCA car,
ARCA car
is fun. I will tell you one thing about it.
Yeah.
If you want to be fast, you better learn to ride the wall. Oh. We were doing a little hosted race at Bristol.
Mm-hmm.
And, son, you just go down the straightaway, you hit the wall with the right front first on entrance, and you put your foot through the floorboard all the way, and just hold the wheel. It's wild.
Sounds buggy.
I don't know if they meant it to be like that, but at Bristol, I know for sure you can do that. The cars are definitely different. They drive completely different than the old ARCA cars. They don't get sideways. They're actually really tight. I don't know if you've had a chance to wheel one yet.
That's not good. I haven't, no.
But they are extremely tight. They definitely don't drive off the right rears hard. I haven't been able to spin one out.
One of my best ever ARCA races, in my limited iRacing career was actually the ARCA cars at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which a lot of people really struggle at.
Yeah.
because a lot of people can't back their entry up. That's really what it comes down to, and they just end up wrecking. But I could save a little tire and back my entry up there and really power past people up off the corner. So, and the straightaways have made a difference. So I'm kind of sad to see it change, but I will try to get back in it. I tried to get in a truck race. What was it? I think I texted you this week. I think it was trucks at Bristol, and dude, I'm in people's way. I'm so out of it right now that I dang near need to start over and go back to racing every night in B level or something and just figure it out because I'm just so off. I don't know. It's kind of frustrating. I feel like I'm thinking about switching back to the old pedals too.
Really? That's a bad idea.
Because I know that these should be better, but I think I just need to put my foot down more. I feel like I just let off the gas on these. I thought about recalibrating the pedal a little bit or changing the program or whatever. But I don't know. I've struggled with. I just been bad the last few times I've been on there. I can't run a lap, so and I'm not trying to get up there and be in the way. And I was getting to the point where I was running those trucks and the Xfinities, and I was finishing top 5 every time, and so it's really frustrating to not be able to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I feel like coming out of retirement, I understand why there's all this debates with drivers not getting approved for races. So.
Yeah.
Did you see Casey Mears, by the way, before we get out of here?
No, I did not.
Casey Mears is going to make his return to NASCAR Cup Series in the 66 MBM Motorsports car at Martinsville.
High-quality race car right there.
He's basically trying to get back to he's trying to get to 500 Cup starts, I guess.
Oh, really?
He's at 490. So... which is funny because he has 490 Cup starts, but he's not approved to run 1.5 miles.
That's ridiculous.
A little bit comical to me. I don't think it's ridiculous. He hasn't raced in 10 years. It's not ridiculous. He hasn't run one of these cars. He hasn't run a car with this much downforce.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
He was approved to race at Martinsville. They told him he could run a short track, and if he does good, then he'll get to run after that. So basically, he's got to this Martinsville first, and they can start scheduling the rest of the races. So when we get to Martinsville, see Casey Mears. It's kind of cool to see him back out there. I hate that he's going to be in such garbage equipment, though.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him getting lapped, which is what we're going to see. The last few times I've been to Bristol, I've seen that 66 car with Arby's and Reed Sorensen, or I don't even know who, driving it around the back, just getting one of them younger guys. I can't think. One of those. It used to be a Toyota guy, but just getting lapped. I'm I don't want to see Casey Mears like that, So that kind of sucks. Did you listen to the Carl Edwards download?
I have not had a chance. It's been on my list, but
nobody should listen to our podcast if you haven't listened to Carl Edwards Dale Jr. download. It's probably the greatest. It's my favorite NASCAR podcast I've listened to in a while. There's a lot of cool things from Edwards in his life, and I didn't really like Edwards back in the day. It's in NASCAR, you either like a driver or you don't. I think that's the thing. I don't feel bad about it. I still feel that way about some of them. But when they go, you miss them, and he's a different guy now than he was too. So it's really cool. So I recommend if you haven't listened to it, take your time, listen to it, watch it, whatever. Put it on 1.5 if you need to. If you don't listen to podcasts on at least 1.5, you're really not doing it right, because that is the only way I listen to them now. So it gets your blood moving, at work, gets you moving a little bit. It's nice. Also, I can listen to them in not that much time. So. Other than that, I don't have anything. Y'all enjoy this weekend. Go to a dirt race. If you're in Georgia, go to Swainsboro. If you're in Ohio, go to Atomic, Brownstown. If you're in Florida, go to Homestead Miami Speedway. And other than that, find your local tracks because they're all firing up this time of year. Newport is the next thing. I was trying to figure out what the next one I have on my schedule. I can't find my little schedule here. I feel like Newport's little late model race is coming up here in April. It's not too far away. Mm-hmm. I'll be going to Bristol. That's probably 4 weeks from Sunday. Man, old death day for our buddy there is really approaching. It's under 4 weeks now. So yeah, Bristol is the 13th. So it's not far away at all. So we're getting there. So we'll see what happens. Other than that, y'all have a great week. Thanks for listening. Please, if you made it this far, please share this, subscribe, make somebody listen. Oh, I'm wearing my Carolina Tar Heel shirt to piss people off because everybody's mad they made it in the tournament. Also, my sister would appreciate that I actually wore some Carolina stuff instead of Tennessee stuff for once. So I do pull for Carolina in basketball, and I wish them better luck than I do the Vols. So, anywho, other than that, thank y'all for listening. JP, you got anything for the road?
Oh, nothing. Just ready to go do some racing. First new season, iRacing. Got to get ready for it.
You really blew it. You're supposed to say, hammer down.
Oh, man.
Thank y'all for listening to the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast. Our theme music is Hard as Steel by Alex Productions. Thank you all for listening. Hammering down. Find a good race to watch. We'll see you next time.